What should the opposition parties in India, what should they do? What should their strategy be for 2024? Now, don't forget that even if you win an election, if there is no, and that can happen easily through a pre-poll pact, a good pre-poll pact. Also, you need to have to split the ruling party's vote by backing dissidents, by backing, people in strategic constituencies to split the vote. That's a it's a, it's like a business strategy. It's not rocket science, and more if you hire a guy to do it, I'm not saying Prashant Kishore, because there are a lot of people whose names are not known. They're not known like Prashant Kishore, but if you grew up in Delhi, you know their names and they're still around. And Kage Saab certainly knows their names. Modi Saab certainly knows their names. So there is, of course, a, a good way to create a pre-poll pact and to, at the last moment, to get the guy who was denied a seat and to, really back him and do a social media campaign and make out that, let's say let's say you make it an Adani election. Why not? It's so long as you can split votes and you cross the magic, you get the magic number, you're in power. But that's when the problems start. What the experience of the 1990s, or even the experience of 1977, when Janta came to power, Janta Morcha came to power, and there was another Janta Morcha in 89. And then in the 1990s, you had craziness. The fact is, if you don't have a PM candidate, and if there is basically no, what is called in economics, we call it really it's John Maynard Keynes. He's an evolutionary biologist. He coined the term uncorrelated asymmetry. That there is some fact about the game which is not contestable. And for example, one reason why the dynasty has such a grip on the Congress party is that there is always only one person. He is uniquely identified, or she is uniquely identified as the heir of the dynasty. Everybody else, you could say, Manmohan or Narasimha Rao, yes, but Pranab is better than Narasimha, or Montek is better than Manmohan. There is no way to establish that one person is best. But there is a way to establish that one person came out of the womb of so-and-so who came out of the womb of so-and-so who came out of the womb of the Dharam Patni of the Kamala Nehru, that means of Jawaharlal Nehru's Dharam Patni. He only had one wife, so whoever came out of that womb, there's an uncorrelated asymmetry. So uncorrelated asymmetry is purely arbitrary. I mean, it's completely arbitrary to say that Rahul and Rahul alone. This is what Kharge is saying, but Kharge is smart. He knows that when he doesn't say Rahul and Rahul alone can be PM, the knives will be out for him immediately. It's only by positioning himself right now as the ultimate loyalist of Rahul, it's only by that, because he knows there is an uncorrelated asymmetry. So not only this gives him an advantage in Karnataka, because if the dynasty, they come to see Kharge as their most loyal water carrier, their most loyal spear carrier, their most loyal servant, which in fact he said, look, oh, Rahul is disqualified. Sir, you come, you stay in my bungalow. I will stay in servant quarters. मेरा घर आपका है और मैं I will stay. मैं आपका नौकर हूँ, मैं दास हूँ, and it's that's fine. And obviously, this does mean that he won't be made the scapegoat because, otherwise the idea is that if Gelot had come in, he'd be the scapegoat for the defeat in 2024. Whereas you can't say that the biggest champion and the strongest advocate of Rahul, his biggest, uh, it's like in the film Bahubali, it's from the South, and there is a very loyal soldier. And the fact that his loyalty, he's actually like a slave, but his loyalty makes a difference. It's because he picks what's called an uncorrelated asymmetry. That's in legal decisions, you've got to find the uncorrelated asymmetry because decisions based on that are eusocial. Otherwise, you're going to get rent contestation, you're going to get endless fighting and litigation, and so that's why we have what are called bourgeois strategies. John Maynard Smith came up with the notion of the uncorrelated asymmetry, and he showed why in the animal kingdom or in the human kingdom, the republic of human beings, we decide things on the basis of uncorrelated asymmetries. In other words, it's a public signal which is unique to a particular individual, though it is arbitrary. It's arbitrary. I might say, oh, why is Sonia ji not my mummy? Don't I deserve to be her sunny boy? But people will say, don't be stupid. You've got a perfectly good mommy. Do you want to give up your mommy? No, I don't. So shut up. The fact is, it was Sonia, not somebody else, who was the wife, by Vedic rites of Rajiv. And Rajiv came out of the birth canal of his mummy. It wasn't somebody else. He did. So that's it, Now, I'd like you to listen to Salvatore Babones, whose advice for India's regional parties is dump Congress and build a one-state, one-party federation. This is nonsense. The opposition has to look at an uncorrelated asymmetry, because if there is no uncorrelated asymmetry, then they don't have a PM candidate. If they don't have a PM candidate, okay, in 1977, they didn't have a PM candidate. In 1989, they didn't have a PM candidate. But in both cases, the existing, whether it was Indira or Rajiv, they had fucked up so enormously that their own people had turned against them. Indira's own cabinet colleagues had turned against her, Jeevan Ram and so on. Everybody had, was running away because she'd really fucked up during the emergency. It was fucking horrible. I was there in Delhi. I remember it. It was fucking horrible. So now, if you look at Stalin, chief minister of Tamil Nadu, which is where I come from, and he was tortured. There were DMK people who were killed, who died under torture during the emergency. They were in prison, and for no good reason. It's not like Karunanidhi was, some hated Indraji, not at all. But you can see that Stalin is demonstrating his tremendous maturity. But don't forget that Stalin, he has siblings. So he focuses on the uncorrelated asymmetry, which is represented by Rahul. That Priyanka is not contesting. She's not saying, no, I want to be, so the primogeniture principle is well established. So, they have to unite under Rahul. But, maybe with the disqualification thing, then they can say, don't worry, he will be the Sonia. This is the new Sonia. And this is UPA 3. But because, Rahul won't apologize because he's a Gandhi and he's not like Savarkar, God forbid. Indira Gandhi apologized in 78. Yeah, but then she was assassinated. So anyway, look, the leader is Rahul, but the chamcha would be somebody else. It'll be like Manmohan. Don't worry about it. So this is UPA 3. So that is the sensible strategy. And the moment you say it, it's obvious that Karge, 80 years old, I think he's going to take back Karnataka. I think if anybody can do it, he's going to take it. He's going to do it. So these guys, they have their strategy, and it's going to work. I mean, Karge has a strategy; it's going to work. Uh, what are the problems with it? Well, Rahul has a magical ability to screw things up at the last moment. To and that Maharashtra is important. You need to keep somebody like Pawar or Thackeray, on side. And you don't abuse Veer Savarkar. Why? You know, that kind of thing. Now saying all Modis are thieves, it's crazy. You may have lost Gujarat, but there are Modis all over the place. So it's a very, very foolish. God knows what he's going to do next. But let's suppose that he says that Mummy and Ahmed Patel and these people they forced me to apologize to Supreme Court. But Prashant Bhushan, he defied Supreme Court. He also was facing contempt charges, but of course his offence was much greater. Prashant Bhushan had basically said that each one of you judges is a thief, a crook, a crazy person, a rapist. God knows what he said. God knows. But the Supreme Court backed down. And I mean, the fact is that if this goes to the Supreme Court, I think they're going to reverse the 2016 decision, Subramaniam Swamy, where don't forget it was Kejriwal, Rahul, and Subramaniam Swamy, these three people who like shooting their mouth off and making absurd and, but Kejriwal will always, apologize or wriggle out of it. He'll repeat the same canard again at a later point. Doesn't matter. But, the fact is, he's proved himself. Swamy is mad. By the way, he's an Iyer, so, and Iyers are the stupidest people in the world. They should get immediate, not just backward caste, educationally backward, but mentally bloody retarded status, which need affirmative action. Do it now with retrospective effect. Mani Shankar Iyer. I mean, seriously, is there any smart? There may be, maybe Jaishankar or Nirmala or but they're like technocrats, aren't they? At least they're not. But seriously, in the old days, Iyer means stupid. That's my own feeling, at least when it comes to politics. Babone, he's what he's saying, I think is it's worth listening to. It's not.
Hi all, Salvatore here with some unsolicited advice for India's regional political parties on how to beat the BJP. First things first, dump the Congress. As long as the Congress Party retains its national ambitions, it's a competitor, not a coalition partner. And as long as it...
So, that's fair enough, because if you remember the 90s, if Congress is giving you outside support, then they'll pull the rug. But Congress, if you go really back to 1937, 1938, Nehru, the reason that he really became the dictator of Congress is at that time he pronounced the doctrine that Congress will never be number two. And that was with respect to Bengal, Fazlul Haq. Congress could have been the partner of Fazlul Haq, but he said no. Now, that is the dynastic. The reason, there's a good reason why the Nehru dynasty or Nehru-Gandhi dynasty has survived. And it's because they have that instinct that, in a particular state, if it's unimportant, if it's marginal, or basically too, how should I put it, has too strong a regional identity. Tamil Nadu. Indira Gandhi is perfectly happy to let go of Tamil Nadu. It was Kamraj who made the blunder there. Bhaktavatslam, they made the blunder. Mrs. Gandhi, in fact, she was not. She was a very junior. I think she was Minister of State. She was Minister of Information and Broadcasting at the time of Hindi riots and all that. And she flew down, spending her own money on her own dime, and came back and said, "Look, please, don't be so bloody silly." And there were Tamil people there saying, "No, no, we will speak Hindi." How do you bloody speak Hindi, man? Nobody for 300 miles who can teach us Hindi. How are you supposed to start speaking Hindi? It was mad. It was crazy nonsense. It was really stupid. But was some Kamaraj Nadu. Crazy. They just gave away Congress, Tamil Nadu. But don't worry. I mean, Congress is still there. After all, if Rahul is going to be re-elected, assuming he apologizes or Supreme Court backs down, the chances are he will be elected from Kanyakumari, not from Wayanad. So that's okay. But let's
It remains a family business. It's a liability, not an asset. They may say that rats flee a sinking ship, but sensible people do too. Instead of building a grand coalition.
So, the problem is with Congress is, of course, Rahul is shit, but suppose he's disbarred. Suppose after all, he can tell and maybe that's what's happening, that, he really has shitty lawyers and is not apologizing. So, if the disqualification stands, then why not UPA 3? And there you don't have to declare your candidate, because you can hint that, look, it may be one of you. It may be you, Nitish. It may be you, Mumtaji, and that becomes a factor in their own backyards, that Karge and so on, and Rahulji, with the beard or without beard, depending, dressed up as Lingayat or as God knows, Banjara, Hijra. He'll be there, and so that's good. Saying, yeah, Mamta will be Prime Minister in Bengal. Yeah, that's great for West Bengal, Nitish, that's fine. But this depends on the disqualification thing kind of remaining salient, and there are legal ways to kick the can down the road, keep the boy out of prison, but let the thing hang fire so that in 2024, there's a possibility that you're going to have a UPA 3. We don't know exactly who it will be, because after the election, Mamta won't want to leave Calcutta. Nobody will want to leave their home state. Nitish maybe. But, at a certain point, you have to tell him that he's useless. Fuck off and die, you elderly nonsense person. Because, he hasn't established a dynasty. He's a lame duck. If where is your successor? You're a lame duck, So, but but he can play a role to bring down BJP, which I think he really wants to do. I think he's absolutely sincere that he belongs to that wing, what was called the Janta Parivar, as opposed to Sangh. The Parivaris and the Sanghvis, there's kind of, many years ago, there's that kind of distinction, what I call secular. But now, of course, there is nobody secular. CPM they're not secular. Nobody's secular now. I think, let's just end. Just the concluding remark from Babones, charming gentleman.
Stick to them. Most of all, don't go after Mr. Modi. He has a 70% approval rating. Attacking him only gets you 30% of the vote. Say you have nothing.
No, you attack Modi like anything. Because, you see, when you attack somebody, what you're saying is, I can do things better. So, what you need to do is to leave it uncertain as to who the successor will be. And, if you look at Kejriwal, why is he doubling down on this nonsense about degrees? Nobody gives a shit about degrees. But the answer is that you see there could be the idea of a technocratic UPA 3 prime minister where Kejriwal will be busy ruling Delhi and Punjab and trying to gain one or two more. Mamta is busy raising up Kolkata, making West Bengal the rival of Bangladesh, to be a rival of Sheikh Hasina. Yeah, that's fine. Stalin has his vision. He is competing with Vijayan, who has his great, I'm the Deng Xiaoping of India. That's fine. These guys don't really want to move to Delhi, which is a boring shithole. I mean, it was. I mean, now, but it's not the politics of Delhi. It's Kejriwal politics. I mean, otherwise, if you've come there from Tamil Nadu, you can't even speak the bloody language of the cab driver. That the internet has changed things. Skyping has changed things. COVID has changed things. People feel miserable having to go to Delhi and to go for these meetings. So there, I think Babones is wrong. But one final word from him.
Remember, though, one state, one party, not a grand coalition. Good luck. That'll be $8.
So, very charming gentleman who is.
Hi, all. Salvatore here. Some unsolicited advice for India.
So, one state, one party. This is so against the Indian grain. Even if V.S. Naipaul, when he was in Trinidad, there's a book, a little novella called "The Suffrage of Elvira," of Saint Elvira, or something like that. The Suffrage of Elvira, or something like that. That it was the first elections in Trinidad. And, it's about an ambitious guy. He thinks that he can get elected, but he doesn't realize that he's there to split some particular caste-based vote. So, in a segmentary society, that's always going to be a feature. You can't have, like in America, the Republican primaries over here and the registered Democrats over there, or that's because basically, if I don't get the ticket and it goes to my cousin, I have to find somebody who will pay for me to split that vote. Anyway, it's a charming contribution from a academic who doesn't hate brown people. How strange. He won't last long.